Great news has arrived. Now the Gunners are surprised with this bomb. It was suddenly. Before informing you the content, if you are new to the channel, subscribe and leave your like. This way you will ensure that you are always well informed with the news of Arsenal football. Thank you. Transfer twist. Arsenal make late move for Eberechi as Tottenham talks stall. In a dramatic turn of events, Arsenal have launched a late swoop for Crystal Palace star Eberechi, responding quickly to an injury concern involving Kai Havertz, and throwing a wrench into Tottenham's ongoing negotiations. The 27-year-old England international has long been tipped for a summer move, with Tottenham Hotspur previously viewed as frontrunners in the race to sign him. But just as Spurs were edging closer to a deal, Arsenal have re-entered the picture with serious intent. According to Football.London, the Gunners have now intensified talks with Crystal Palace, hoping to convince the club to part ways with their talisman. And in a development that could tip the scales, is reportedly keen on a move to the Emirates, having supported Arsenal as a youngster and even played in their youth system. A deal in the balance, but the Gunners have the edge. Earlier this week, reports suggested that Palace and Spurs were in advanced discussions, with the South London club holding off finalising any agreement until they secured a suitable replacement for But that delay has opened the door for Arsenal to hijack the deal. As reported by David Ornstein, preference is now Arsenal, which puts Mikel Arteta's side in a strong position, both to secure a player of genuine international pedigree and to snatch him from their fiercest North London rivals. While £67.5 million release clause expired earlier this month, that was never viewed as a major obstacle for Arsenal, especially in light of Havertz's injury. Why Arsenal are accelerating talks. The timing of Arsenal's renewed interest is no coincidence. Sources close to the club say the injury sustained by Kai Havertz during the recent clash with Manchester United has sparked internal concern. While the extent of the issue remains under medical evaluation, Arsenal aren't taking any chances and see as the perfect reinforcement to strengthen their midfield and attacking depth. Although initial interest in had cooled following the contract renewal of rising star Ethan Nwaneri, Havertz's potential absence has reshaped the club's transfer priorities. Arsenal view not just as a like-for-like replacement but as a multifunctional attacker who can operate centrally, create from deep, and also drift wide, much like Havertz was utilised. Crystal Palace facing crucial decision. Palace, meanwhile, find themselves under growing pressure. The club is preparing for a crucial UEFA Conference League playoff against Fredrikstad and trained earlier today ahead of the match. As of now, it's unclear whether will feature in the squad, with ongoing transfer talks likely influencing any decision on his involvement. If he is omitted from the matchday squad, it could be a clear sign that a deal is imminent, and that Arsenal may have edged ahead in one of the most intriguing transfer battles of the summer. What comes next? For Arsenal, landing Eberechi would mark a major statement of intent. Not only would they be adding a proven Premier League talent to their ranks, but they'd also be dealing a psychological blow to Tottenham, who have been actively pursuing the player for weeks. Should the move go through, would join a rapidly evolving Arsenal squad poised to compete on all fronts this season, while Crystal Palace would be left scrambling to fill the creative void left behind. With the clock ticking and both clubs jockeying for position, the transfer saga promises to be one of the most talked-about stories of the window. Arsenal overtake Tottenham in race for Eberechi after Havertz's injury sparks urgency. In a major twist to one of the summer's most talked-about transfer sagas, Arsenal have made a late and aggressive move to sign Eberechi from Crystal Palace, and are now believed to be in the lead, overtaking Tottenham Hotspur in the process. Who had been heavily linked with Spurs throughout the window, now appears set to choose the Gunners after recent developments within the Arsenal squad accelerated their pursuit. The catalyst? A concerning knee injury to midfielder Kai Havertz during a pre-season match, which has pushed Arsenal to act quickly. Prefers Arsenal, and the club wants him now. Though Tottenham were deep in talks with Crystal Palace and believed to be close to securing a deal, Arsenal entered negotiations with greater urgency and a more personal appeal. Is said to prefer a move to Arsenal, a club he supported as a child and where he briefly spent time in the academy. The 27-year-old is admired for his creativity, technical quality, and positional versatility, qualities that Arsenal now need more than ever with Havertz's status uncertain heading into the season. Arsenal's midfield reassessment. While Arsenal had initially cooled their interest in after extending the contract of young talent Ethan Nwaneri, Havertz's injury forced a shift in priorities. Mikel Arteta's side now views not just as a long-term midfield option, but as an immediate solution capable of playing both centrally and wide in their dynamic system. With reported £67.5 million release clause having recently expired, Arsenal are negotiating directly with Crystal Palace and remain confident a deal can be reached. Tottenham left reeling. Tottenham's negotiations with Palace had progressed steadily, but the delay in finalising the deal, partly due to Palace's hesitation to sell before lining up a replacement, opened the door for Arsenal to act. Now, Spurs are reportedly reassessing their attacking targets and may have to turn their attention elsewhere as they continue to reshape their squad under Ange Postecoglou. What this means for Crystal Palace. For Crystal Palace, losing Ease would be a significant blow on the pitch, but the expected transfer fee could allow them to reinvest in multiple positions. Palace are currently preparing for a UEFA Conference League playoff, and it's still uncertain whether Ease will take part, as negotiations continue in the background. Implications for Arsenal. If Arsenal complete the signing, they not only secure a high-caliber player but also send a strong signal to their Premier League rivals. Ease would offer tactical flexibility, cover for Havertz, and long-term value as Arsenal aim to compete for major trophies this season. In a midfield that already features Declan Rice, Martin Odegaard, and Jorginho, Ease addition would give Arteta new creative options and strengthen the squad's overall depth, especially with a demanding fixture list ahead that includes domestic and European competitions. Looking ahead. As the summer window enters its final weeks, Arsenal's late pursuit of Ease is shaping up to be one of the defining moments of their off-season. It reflects the club's growing ambition, strategic responsiveness, and ability to outmaneuver top rivals in the market. All eyes will now be on whether a final agreement can be reached, and how quickly Ease could be integrated into Arteta's plans for the new campaign. Arsenal's transfer options after Kai Havertz's injury setback, as Andrea Berta works behind the scenes. With Kai Havertz now sidelined due to injury, Arsenal's carefully built squad depth has taken a major hit just as it was beginning to look complete. After a brutal season last year, where no fewer than 27 players missed time through injuries, including Havertz's tendon issue that required surgery, this latest blow is particularly frustrating for Mikel Arteta and his staff. Although there's still no confirmed return date for the German international, we expect an update from Arteta in Friday's press conference. Sources suggest Arsenal are already moving more actively in the transfer market. There was always room for one or two more deals, but any new arrivals were expected to depend on outgoings, especially under UEFA's financial fair play constraints. That's where new sporting director Andrea Berta has been hard at work, trying to make things happen. With that in mind, Football.London takes a look at 3 realistic, and 1 dream, transfer targets who could help fill the creative and positional gap left by Havertz. 1. Eberechi Ease, a creative spark Arsenal could reignite talks with. At one point, Arsenal looked like they'd stepped away from the Ease chase. But now, with Havertz out and squad versatility at a premium, the Crystal Palace star may be back in the conversation. Ease isn't a striker, but that's exactly the point. Havertz brought more than just goals. His injury leaves Arsenal thin in multiple creative positions, and Ease, who can play as a no. 10, on the left, or even as a second striker, would bring flair, vision, and control to Arsenal's attack. There were already quiet talks with his camp earlier this summer, so reigniting those discussions wouldn't take much. His arrival would also allow players like Leandro Trossard and Mikel Merino to slot into more defined roles, improving overall squad balance. 2. Ademola Lookman, underrated, versatile, and ready for a return. A name not always in the spotlight, but one gaining serious traction is Ademola Lookman. Sources tell Football.London that the Atalanta winger has been offered to several Premier League clubs, and Arsenal are definitely aware of his profile. Lookman's ability to play on either wing or centrally makes him a strong option now that Havertz is out. While his previous spells at Everton and Fulham didn't quite deliver, his growth in Serie A has been impressive. Inter Milan failed with a €45 million bid earlier this summer, and that's opened the door for other clubs to step in. Lookman might not be a marquee name, but his versatility, recent form, and hunger to prove himself in England again make him a compelling option. 3. Rodrigo, the dream signing that could change everything. Let's talk ambition. If Arsenal want to go bold, Rodrigo is the name that's been floating around Emirates conversations for weeks. The Real Madrid winger, who can operate anywhere across the front line, is reportedly not central to Xabi Alonso's plans for the new season. While Manchester City appears focused on keeping Savigno, Arsenal could quietly make a move for Rodrigo, if they can make the finances work. His price tag is hefty, likely around €90 million, £77.8 million, which puts the Gunners in a tough spot due to FFP. Unless a major sale or creative financial arrangement is made, loan with obligation, perhaps, this one's a long shot. But it's the kind of move that could lift the entire squad and send a signal across Europe. Looking ahead. There's no sugarcoating it, losing Havertz is a setback. But it also creates an opportunity. Arsenal can reassess, recalibrate, and maybe even come out stronger by making the right move in the market. Whether it's the dynamic unpredictability of Ease, the reborn efficiency of Lookman, or the superstar quality of Rodrigo, the Gunners have options. And with Andrea Berta now pulling the strings behind the scenes, fans should feel optimistic that the club won't stand still. Squad implications and tactical adjustments. The timing of Havertz's injury couldn't be worse, especially considering how Arteta was finally beginning to mould a squad with two high-quality options for each position. The German's unique profile, a hybrid of attacking midfielder and false nine, gave the Gunners flexibility in high-pressure matches. Without him, Arsenal loses a key link between midfield and attack, especially in games where control and technical finesse are required. Internally, this puts extra weight on players like Leandro Trossard, who might now be used more centrally. There's also a possibility that Arteta will call upon academy prospects or experiment tactically, perhaps pushing Martin Degaard into more advanced positions or tweaking the role of Gabriel Jesus once he returns from his own injury layoff. Gabriel Jesus' return, boost or added pressure? Speaking of Jesus, the Brazilian forward is expected to return midway through the season after recovering from his latest knee issue. While that's good news, there's a risk in expecting too much too soon. Jesus himself is no stranger to injury setbacks, and Arsenal fans know all too well the dangers of rushing a return. This makes reinforcements in attack all the more critical. The club simply cannot rely on Jesus and Trossard alone to carry the load in a campaign that includes Premier League, Champions League, and domestic cup ambitions. Financial fair play. A delicate dance. Behind the scenes, Andrea Berta is navigating a complex financial puzzle. With UEFA's financial fair play regulations tightening, Arsenal must walk a fine line between ambition and sustainability. There's pressure to generate income through player sales. Names like Eddie Nketiah, Emile Smith-Rowe, and even Kieran Tierney have come up in exit rumours. Sources close to the club suggest that Arsenal are open to creative deals, such as loans with purchase options or staggered payments, to bring in their targets without triggering FFP alarms. Berta's track record at Atletico Madrid shows he's capable of pulling off these kinds of deals, but it's a race against time as the window enters its final stretch. Fan reaction and media buzz. The news of Havertz's injury sent a ripple through the Arsenal fan base. While some expressed concern over squad depth, others pointed to this as an opportunity for the club to act decisively in the market. On social media, the majority of fans have rallied behind the idea of signing either Ease or Lookman, viewing them as realistic and high-upside options. The Rodrigo rumours, while tantalising, have sparked debate over whether now is the right moment for such a blockbuster move, especially given the club's cautious financial posture. Pundits, too, have weighed in. Former Arsenal midfielder Paul Merson suggested on Sky Sports that bringing in someone like Ease would make more sense than another winger. It's that creativity from deep Arsenal are going to miss most with Havertz gone. What's next for Arsenal? With just under 2 weeks left in the transfer window, all eyes are now on what Arsenal will do. The urgency is real, but so is the opportunity. The club doesn't need to panic, but it does need to act. Havertz's injury, while unfortunate, has highlighted areas that still require strengthening if Arsenal are to truly compete on all fronts. If the Gunners can navigate this moment smartly, balancing financial discipline with strategic aggression in the market, they could emerge even more prepared for the intense season ahead.